Let me start off this episode with a very special thank you to our newest Patreon supporter, emo veteran Vale. Everyone say hi, Vale. All right, very excited to have you and very excited to talk about the Wonder Years today. One of my favorite songs of theirs, Melrose Diner. Let's do it.
Tom, what day is it?
What day is it? I don't know. What kind of question is that?
Are we out of the woods yet?
Are we out of the woods? Is this a Taylor Swift trivia game?
No, I'm just kidding. What's up, man? How's it going? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
I can tell you it's a Friday.
Yeah. At the time
Do you
of
feel like,
release anyway.
Yes. When Soupy said that he came out of a Philly basement swinging, did you think that there was going to be a wrestling video and have it be that on the nose with like a fighting theme?
Well, 2 different albums, but...
Oh, dude, I did my research, man.
They have always been fans of wrestling.
Okay.
I remember, especially like around the Suburbia time, and they started like, I don't know, putting stuff on YouTube. They were like obsessed with wrestling, and I think just like trying to fit in, I was like, should I get really into wrestling? And I just couldn't. I think I tried for like a minute, and I just couldn't.
Everyone, it's obviously millennial people. It's a thing, attitude era, all that stuff. I was not one of those individuals. I don't think you were either. I was going to ask you, are you a wrestling guy? Because we were planning on whether or not to do this, and the other night everyone, well, at the time of recording, everyone was tweeting about WrestleMania, and I think Logan Paul got his ass knocked out, and I think there was just like, people were tweeting, it's a whole thing. It's like this event on Twitter, which is great. Wrestling's always been an event. So this is our response. We're meeting you halfway. We're doing a music video that has to do with backyard wrestling. But I don't think I'm a wrestler guy. I know I like Glow. Are you a wrestler guy?
Oh my God, dude. Glow
No
is
judgment
the
if needed.
best.
I'm just saying like there's something, whether it's Dungeons and Dragons or fantasy football or whatever, we're all the dorkiest dorks of all time. Human beings are deeply flawed, dumb animals. It doesn't matter. But I have not yet chosen wrestling as like my entertainment drama of choice. And sorry, I keep cutting you off before you get a chance to answer the question. Has that ever been yours? I mean, we grew up in an era where it was quite popular.
So my only memory really of any kind of wrestling or like seeing it, my Uncle Mike used to babysit us a lot, and he was into wrestling. And I was maybe 8, and he would swear up and down that wrestling was real. Like, this is real storylines. They are actually hurting each other. And I just like, I knew that it wasn't, but he was dying. And I mean, like, as a joke, he's like, no, it's real, you know? And I didn't understand that he was joking. And it made me so angry because it was like gaslighting in a joking way, but it felt like I was losing my fucking mind. So,
Getting gaslit over wrestling by your uncle.
As a
Classic.
joke. Right.
Hashtag only 90s kids will understand.
But I mean, you know, nothing serious, but I was just so confused. Like I thought he was being for real. But you know, looking back, there's been like a couple memes that
You're gaslighting me about not liking the Beatles.
there's a couple memes that have come from like moments in wrestling, and I'll Google like a video of it, and there's a lot of charm to it, but I don't know, like at the end of the day, it's a bunch of ripped dudes with their shirts off. Like, I don't know, like I'd rather play a skateboarding video game or go skate or something. Nothing about it really captures me.
I'd rather become a ripped dude with his shirt off. I'm all about the games.
Right.
I'm just kidding. I'm not all about the gains. If you're just joining us this week, this is not meeting your expectations for the show, I'm assuming. Let's get into the episode. Let's do that.
What is going on, everybody? I'm Tom.
And I'm Pat.
We're best friends, and you're listening to the Reminiscent Podcast.
Okay, Tom just left the recording for a bit to pet his dog. And I just want to make clear, if you're a new listener this week, I couldn't be any less about the gains. I just want to be very upfront about that. Never, gains. No, not for me. I'll tell you what, if it's one thing about me and gains, it's that doesn't run my life, that's for sure. Never again anyway. Am I right? There we go. Hello. Gaines? No thanks. Knock, knock. Who's there? Gaines? Go away. Do you have a warrant? Get the f*** out of here. You know what I'm saying? Not for me, baby. Not now, not ever. You know, it's just not what I'm about. So,
all right, I'm back.
hey, hopefully your dog's okay.
Just screaming at the neighbors right outside my windows. I had to do something about it.
Yeah. Guard dog of the year. Just talking about Gaines, having some fun.
Okay. All right. Well,
anyway,
anyways.
yeah. Melrose Diner.
Oh, is this the best song on the album? Can we just start there with the
Well, I was going to start even
question of
smaller.
our time?
Can we start smaller? Is it the best chorus on the album? But actually, let's just start there. Well, if you're ready to call it the best song, I thought you were going to fight the chorus thing harder.
Oh.
No, let's just get into both right now. Throw your Jackson Pollock your thoughts into the mic, and I will receive them and try to rearrange them into a more conventional understanding of cartoonish art.
That's really hard. I think it might be tied for best with This Party Sucks.
Walk me through that chorus again. What are the lyrics?
Say you'll stay in with me today. Say you'll stay. Because that's also about like being straight edge. So I think there's like a connection with me.
Yeah, I had a feeling you might be liking that one. Can I ask you this question? Is there a hit on this record? Because we had such a misunderstanding when we did the album episode. This is, again, about the music video. There's a big backyard wrestling thing. That's why we opened the show with wrestling. We'll get to it very quickly. But if you're just joining us this week, we had a big misunderstanding of how big the Wonder Years were at this point, which was not very. So was there like a single? I mean, would this be the quote-unquote hit conventionally understood to be?
Washington Square Park, I believe, was the leading single off this album. It was definitely the first one I heard, and I knew it was before the album came out. I think Washington Square Park is the single, but it doesn't have a music video, I don't think.
Interesting. Yeah, I wonder if this was like a retroactive single where they were getting enough buzz where they got some money. What was it? They signed with Hopeless soon after the release. I guess we are not to the fast facts yet, but
it might have been No Sleep at this time. I don't know if they were on Hopeless for this album.
Yeah, it might have been soon after. Yeah, we'll read it. I mean, like, we just literally haven't scrolled through the Google Doc enough with our thumbs at the moment. But what I wanted to say was, when I listened to this album for the first time, when I think you turned me on to them, I remember hearing this chorus and being like, okay, the whole album makes more sense now that I've heard this version of what they can do. I just remember it making utter sense, and I just loved it. As soon as I had to get to this song first, though, kind of weirdly.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely...
like it unlocked it or something?
Yeah, it unlocked the theme of the record, I think. Because, the first few songs are great, but it doesn't give enough context, I guess. Like, this is definitely... the culmination of everything that this album really has to offer.
Well, yeah, when he says, like, I guess I'm just down, like, I guess I'm just at a point of weakness. Then you go back to track 1 and he's like, I'm not sad anymore, I'm just tired of this place. Right. You're like, okay, new frame of mind. Now I know what this is going to explode into, and I can appreciate everything a little more.
Definitely. And I do think there is something interesting about bands picking the single before the album releases and then readjusting.
They're notoriously bad at knowing what's good.
Yeah, I know.
I think many artists in interviews forever have admitted that they don't know. I mean, we mentioned this on the show before, but Jim Adkins of Jimmy World, very willing to admit, I don't know what's going to do well. It is what the audience receives it. If they receive it as, I think maybe Ben Gibbard has kind of had similar interviews where he's like, it must be true for them. Perception is reality. If the audience is choosing to receive it in this way, then it must be true for them at least. Yeah. Who am I to say? But yeah, I think that's a really like pretty way to say I am a very bad judge of my own song. Like Blink, for example, not that way. We've done episode after episode about them writing a song for radio and it being the hit and like being generally perceived to be the best. So not true for all artists necessarily. Anywho, that's not those episodes. This episode is Melrose Diner. A diner that, before we get into the official Fast Facts, which we'll recap the record and things like that, and a little actors that have gone on to be, pretty big that were in this. The actual Melrose Diner caught fire in 2019. Did you know this?
I didn't, but I checked their Yelp page. A lot of people seem to agree this place has gone downhill since they were kids. So,
well, let's see. In the little news clip I found, because I Googled Melrose Diner without any other keywords, like pretty boomer move on my part, if I have to say. Whether you crave a midnight meal or an afternoon pick-me-up, the 24-hour Melrose Diner is the place to go for many in South Philadelphia and beyond.
Which I learned in the same Googling process that apparently locals call it the Melrose. So if you're trying to fit in with the in crowd, you got to call it the Melrose.
I think this might go for everybody, but I remember as a kid, it was in our little Lake Cliff group where like our goal was to like go somewhere and be able to order the regular. It was like a very odd, eerie pursuit, but we were not old. Like there was a Lawrence Park diner, very old timey. Like I mentioned on the show before that our town was stuck decades behind. Like we lived in a township that was in a city that was stuck decades behind, but our township in particular.
Yeah.
Anyway, so kind of like, I don't know if diner culture is like particularly Rust Belty or anything like that. I know there's probably like coffee and a biscuit stuff in the South. Now that we live in North Carolina, people fucking love biscuits, and that's totally understandable. Now that I've had a few Southern biscuits, I get it, believe me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wonder if, as you may or may not know, I'm sure if you're listening to this show, you have some idea that they're not just writing fiction when they say they're coming out swinging from a Philly basement. They are legitimately from southeastern Pennsylvania. And I'm assuming he's eating at this diner. Is that safe to say, Tom? Do you have any insight on that?
Nothing to say about that. But, I mean, when you go to a diner, you're going back to the Yelp reviews, you're not going there for good food. You're going there because it's open 24 hours a day. They're probably going to drink shitty coffee at 3 a.m. after they play some VFW show where the stage is a single wooden pallet. You know?
I remember so I have two stories from Union Street. No, not Union Street Diner. No, it would have been Union. Yeah, no. I thought it was Court Street Diner. Union Street Diner in college. You'd go there late at night and you'd order, if I had to guess, if you're there in the middle of the night, you're going to get the chicken bacon wrap with the ranch side, and it's hopefully going to help with your hangover the next day. I saw a guy pull a Natty Light out of his pocket and pour it into one of the glasses that the waitress gave him and just drink it at the booth. It was not a place that served alcohol. And also, when I used to work at the paper, I'd go on a weeknight, and that was my sense of like normalcy, was to like treat myself once a week to like the 450 special or something in this southeastern Ohio diner. And one night it was just spaghetti and like garlic bread. And as a college student, I could have done spaghetti. I was pretty sure. I also had like kind of a crush on the waitress. But that's not a story for a different day. I never worked up the courage to ask. But I was just like the only person in there, and I was just like, "What's the special?" She's like, "It's spaghetti." I'm like, "I'll have it." She's like, "Okay." Like nothing's really the special, but it's $1 less than what it might have been. So I'm like, whatever. It was just me trying to play grown up, basically.
Yeah.
Anyway, I ate the spaghetti and didn't ask her out. But anyway, it hit the spot. Anyway, Union Street Diner. It's weird. It's one of those diners sometimes become cool and there's a line and you're like, this is not what I liked this diner for. I didn't just like suffer through all these mediocre meals. To have this become a thing to do as like a tourist thing. And then like the seats end up getting like reupholstered. You're like, this sucks. This place sucks. Even though it's like been there for you at every darkest moment possible. But I think people who go back to Athens, go to the Union Street Diner, they're like, see it doing well. They're like kind of pissed off about it. It's like, if it was closed, it'd be awful. But now that it's doing well, it's like also awful. I don't know. It's such a weird, it's weird to have, I don't know if it's an American thing or a worldwide thing to have like a relationship with such a specific type of eatery.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's so like, it's so romantic. And I mean, it makes me think of like depressed author from the, I don't know, 19 whatevers going to a shitty diner and, you know, writing prose poetry about it, which is basically the Wonder Years career. Like it is prose poetry set to insanely catchy music that we thought was the biggest album of the year when it came out.
What's the biggest album of our
of our lives?
I swore I'd never quote Anchorman on the show and just become a true characterization of myself, or just an extreme version of like idiot me, which is just me. But basically, when he's like the headline of My World is You Tonight, and that's like the big cheesy line to Veronica Corns or whatever. I just butchered it. But really, for us, the big headline of that year was like, have you heard Upsides? Because for us, this is the biggest thing that's happened to music since Jimi Hendrix played the guitar for the first time.
You know what's really interesting? Okay, so we all knew Get Stoked on It. Back when I saw a tweet about this the other day, every guy who wore a deep V was getting script tattoos in like an arc from shoulder blade to shoulder blade. I really wanted to get Stoked on It on my chest, like more than anything. And a lot of people in our hometown loved that record. And when the Upsides came out, I remember being at a shitty diner. It was Perkins. That there were two different groups from the music scene. One would go to Eaton Park. One would go to Perkins. People went to Perkins because they still allowed smoking inside. They had a smoker section that was like a 2-foot sheet of glass that came up above the booth, but there was just like 8 feet of open air above it.
Oh my God. I recently went to an Eaton Park, which is like a similar, I don't know, Midwest, really Cracker Barrel, Denny's, but I'm sure all these places had smoking sections like not that long ago.
Yeah.
And by smoking section, it's exactly what you're describing. There is no sectioning off except maybe half a foot of like painted plastic or cardboard above on the booth dividing line. But someone could be, just honking on a big old cig, just blowing smoke right in your freaking scrambled eggs at 2 a.m. But really, for $6, all you can eat, breakfast buffet with coffee after a show at the Hangout or something, are you really going to tell that trucker to f*** off, or do you value your life in any way, basically?
Well, we were at this Perkins talking about the Upsides. Oh, what would it have been? So it came out in January, late January of 2010.
Perkins said like a canister of coffee, like a thing, like a full batch.
They would just give you the
what do
whole
you call
thing.
it? Like a pot for like $1.30. It's like, hey, can I have like much coffee? Lots of it, like the most coffee, and like cups, but it's like technically only like for one person, but it's like, yeah, for $1 you could give the table could have too much coffee, not just for one person.
Right. No, those places were awesome. So much of my later teen years were spent at shitty diners at 2 a.m. talking about the Wonder Years. I mean, it's honestly fucking insane. But we must have been back there on some kind of break. I know the school that I went to, that's what it was. We didn't have normal like Christmas breaks. We went to school year round. We went in quarters. It would be 10 weeks on, 2 weeks off or something like that. And we must have been back home after the Upsides came out, talking about it at a Perkins, just outside the smoking section, drinking horrible coffee. And I remember,
honestly, like a unique kind of bad, but in an endearing way, of course.
Right,
but like
right.
Now that like you've seen coffee made as an adult, you're just kind of like, I gotta wonder what's happening back there.
Right. I remember not really loving the album as much because I thought the composition wasn't as interesting as Get Stoked on It, which was like a Jackson Pollock piece, just throwing everything at a wall and rolling with it. But it's interesting. I mean, the Wonder Years like tries to pretend that the Upsides is the first album they've ever put out. And it's so upsetting because I am like a diehard Get Stoked on It fan that it was actually nice to read in the Wikipedia that it says the Wonder Years' second full-length album, The Upsides, was released on January 26, 2010, because sometimes they try to remove any notion of its existence. One of the craziest facts about this album is that it sold 1,852 units its first week. Again, I was operating under the assumption that this had sold 15 million copies on release day.
If you're an indie band, like, you're not mad about that, though.
Right? But it's shocking.
Like, you could tour on that.
It's shocking. I feel like half the people in Erie were talking about this album. I mean, there were literally dozens.
That's their home state as well. That's their home state as well.
No, that's true. Because they did come through Erie 2 or 3 times off of Get Stoked on It. So people did know. And honestly, one of my biggest regrets is that I had an opportunity to see them and I bailed to hang out with Hannah instead, even though that's literally what we did every single day. Just, oh man. Anyways, I mean, yeah, that 1,852 units is enough to land them on multiple Billboard charts. Number 5 on Alternative Artist. Number 9 on Top New Artist. Number 26 on Top Internet Album.
Sugar Ray keeps coming up for the wrong reasons, but that dude's on Cameo, and he's always like no longer on the charts, but number 1 in our hearts on every cameo he does. Or at least a lot of them is my understanding. And that's how I feel about this record. It's like no longer on the charts. No longer on the very alternative indie label charts.
Right.
But still number 1 in our hearts.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep cutting you the off, but I guess that's the show, so whatever.
Okay, so here we have, in May of 2010, they had signed with Hopeless. I believe they were on No Sleep when this album dropped, and then they moved up because Suburbia was definitely on Hopeless. They put out the music video for this song in October of 2010. Plenty of time to know
a few
what was
months
resonating
later
with people. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess the assumption here is that it was like people seem to really be connecting with this song. Let's make a wrestling video now.
Right. And what a video it is, Pat. Jesus Christ. It is like the most incredible low budget video I've ever seen. Because they commit. They really commit to it. And they have these characters and their alter egos and stuff. You just want to get into the video?
Yeah, can I read something real quick?
Sure.
This is only going to happen. This is probably pretty rare, but somebody who follows us just tweeted us about the band we're recording about right now. So I figured that would be if that happens to happen to you, I can guarantee the tweet will be read on the show. Nathan, the more I listen to the Wonder Years, the more I love them. In a genre full of heartbreak songs, these dudes are singing about receding hairlines, pain in your lower back, and moving back in with your parents. I'm like, yeah, man, I feel all that, end quote. So I'm going to tweet at Nathan and say that you happen to be tweeting us at the right time. So
that's awesome.
I feel like it was necessary to read that because I feel like we spent a lot of the album when we did the full Upsides kind of recap episode a year ago, 2 years ago. We spent a lot of time kind of talk. We don't have to dive right back into that, but before we go to the episode, I wondered if you wanted to just be like, heck yeah, we feel the same way. Thoughts on that real quick before we go into the very wrestly dialogue that's going to take place from here on out.
Yeah, so like I remember hearing the line receding like my hairline and just being like, oh my God, my hairline is starting to recede. And like, it felt like there was a pretty high level of maturity to it, even though it was still so like fun and youthful, but like the lower back hurting and my heart is saying stay young. My lower back seems to disagree. I believe that's also on Suburbia, but it felt very validating to hear that kind of stuff because I mean, at this point I'm 30, right? And no one's been to a show in a year, but like over time,
and a dad. So over time at shows, I could feel myself moving further and further away from the barricade, becoming the guy in the back with his arms crossed, genuinely having a good time doing just that. And I kind of hated seeing that progression happen in real time. And when Soupy started singing about it, a lot of people thought I looked like him. When they toured through Virginia, I was helping run monitors for the venue and I ran lights for them on this. And I went up to set up drum mics for Matt, and Matt Brash was like, oh my God, I almost asked you a question thinking that you were Soupy. And I was like, oh, be still my heart. Like, it was so incredible. And he had the other band members like, yo, doesn't this guy look just like Soupy? And I remember like watching Jackass and seeing Ryan Dunn's beard and being like, I want to grow it out a little more. But then when Soupy hit the scene and he had a beard and I had a beard, we looked very similar. And then he wrote that song about like, I walked upstairs to shave my beard, and I was like, no, my brother. You can't. I felt a lot of, you know, of course this song is written for me. I felt so many parallels between me and Soupy that it was like we were straight edge and, you know, all that stuff. Yeah. And he's not vegan, he just likes the way it tastes with the
right,
certain types of milk in the cereal.
And you know, I became lactose intolerant my freshman year of college, and and this sounds like I'm making it up, and I promise you I'm not. The first time I ever heard the line "drowning my sorrow in Lucky Charms and soy milk," I was eating Lucky Charms with silk soy milk in it, and to me that just felt like a very interesting synchronicity, I guess you'll say, and just further made me identify as soupy.
Fun. I don't know. We talk a lot about feeling things very deeply on the show, but sometimes the musical journey has its obvious peaks, right? Yeah, I remember being in college, like a very cliche college student, reading On the Road by Jack Kerouac, and then listening to Boys and Girls in America by Hold Steady, and then kind of discovering that they were kind of references and kind of played off each other a lot, and being I'm the first person to discover this and this is amazing, even though I was the 10,000th person, maybe 10 millionth person to discover it. But sometimes it just clicks and you're I'm enjoying two things that are kind of meant to be enjoyed together, and this is really nice and I'm having a good time. It's not it's fun to have that sounds like a very nice moment is what I'm trying to say. I think we're allowed to acknowledge the peaks as well, which in the spirit of the upsides, hell yeah, chicka chicka yeah.
Right. And also, yeah, I just want to shout out Melissa. She was tweeting about Melrose Diner the day we were supposed to record it. We ended up having to push it back for other stuff. But it was funny that she was tweeting about it on the day we were going to record it. We hadn't told anyone. Now that we're recording it, someone else reached out. It's beautiful. I love it. Alrighty, friends, it is Patreon time. Allow me to thank our top tier Patreon supporters, our Council of Elders. In this group, we have Andre Prevost, Johnny Leftwich, Jason Carey, Anonymous, Chris Lukey, JW Johnson, and Nathan Eshelman. Thank you all so much for being here. Really can't tell you enough how honored we are that you support the show. It really does mean the world. If you'd like to check out our Patreon, you can find it at patreon.com/reminiscent, where we post weekly post shows, monthly video AMAs, behind the scenes photos and videos, and teasers as to what we're doing behind the scenes. Lots of fun things for all of the tiers of our Patreon supporters. Thank you all so much for supporting the show. Thank you for listening, and back to the episode.
Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Charlie, my boy, my dad, my cousin, Charlie Sexton. He plays the wrestler, the Lone Wolf. I recently watched The Little Things on HBO Max. It's a little crime thriller drama with Denzel and Jared Leto and others.
Oh.
Rami Malek. But Charlie plays the crime lab dude in that, which was a big get for him if you look at his IMDb page. So he's kind of like an actor. He was an actor then. Obviously he threw his whole body literally into this role of the Lone Wolf. But it's kind of cool to see, be hey, that's the dude from the Wonder Years music video.
I saw him on New Girl. He was one of the hipster neighbors that moved in next door that really loved Jess and made her feel self-conscious that she was turning into a nobody.
My God, dude. Okay, so his look and the alt love interest in this music video has a very New Girl from 4E from that one commercial look. So did pop culture only portray glasses hipster dude and girl from 4E couples from 2011 to 2014 or something? I guess more on that later, but there's a very specific look. Maybe it was just the aftermath of the checkoutThisEffingHipster.com era, but definitely a lot of more atoms in this world were being put towards glasses, if I had to guess.
Well, I thought it was funny that they hired a legitimate actor for the video and then made him do bad acting on screen, which I thought was really funny. Then I found out he's from Philly. So I don't know if he was...
Maybe he just liked the band. Maybe a good, right place, right time.
Maybe he was up and coming. He wasn't, a star yet, right? And he was cheap. Yeah. Or it was just he loves pop punk and he happened to be from Philly. I like to think that the Wonder Years is trying to invest back into their community, so they're hiring a local actor. But maybe he was just just getting into acting. I'm not really sure. Let's get him on the show. I'd love to find more out about it.
Charlie, come on the show.
My boy. All right.
My cousin. My dad.
It starts off with a bit.
Actually, if we do want him on the show, could you take out both parts in the last 5 minutes where I've referred to Charlie Sexton as my father? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, the music video. It starts off as, this is just a straight up wrestling program. Like, not even tongue in cheek. It's just supposed to be consumed as like a Monday Night Raw type thing, right?
Which is interesting because I talk about it a lot with Best of Me. They cut the intro in half for the sake of the budget, which makes me think they were working on someone else's budget, someone else's timeline, and they were trying to get the most out of it. The Wonder Years.
Which is interesting because that means they really wanted to commit to the wrestling thing, because there's so much time spent on the fake wrestling show and Charlie's monologue at the end. So there is fucking ample time to include the rest of the song. So they must have really just believed in the spirit of the story.
They added 2 minutes of film to this video. But so I think it was just like they just had friends over in the backyard and no one else's money was put into this, and they had absolute freedom. So they weren't worried about like the bottom line. They just made a video that they wanted to make. And that's what makes it so good, is that they fully committed to what they were going to do. And we get this black and white CRTV style talk radio show where they introduce 2 announcers just doing, whether intentional or not, some pretty bad script reading, which to me is hilarious.
Well, I like the names. Drew Dudley, Sam Slam, awesome radio announcer, or awesome wrestling announcer name.
Sam Slam.
I would say the spirit of this video is incredibly fun.
Yeah.
From that name onward, it's just like nothing but fun.
So they talk about last week's drama. Everybody's favorite underdog, the lone wolf, lost last week to the evil Crag.
Which is interesting. You watch Glow and everything, and some of the like the early, like, it really is not that different than like daytime drama. Like, if you missed last week's storylines, catch it. It is really unabashedly just a television program to enjoy, entertainment.
Yeah.
I don't really think, I'm just going to stop talking because I'm not like breaking ground there. It's just like, hell yeah. I hope he comes back this week. I'm into it. You know, like kind of immediately, like I could see the appeal is basically what I'm trying to say.
My favorite South Park episode of all time is the wrestling episode, by the way. I think it lends a lot of, I don't know, pokes fun at the daytime drama nature of wrestling. But anyway, so it starts with the storyline that there was kind of this, what was it? Like a hot suicide girl type model.
Scene Queen Megan Massacre?
Scene Queen Megan Massacre, who was an actual model who goes by the name Megan Massacre, which I think was a Suicide Girls thing to do. And everyone did it on MySpace as well.
Yeah, that was my question to you. Like, zip out of the world of the music video real quick. Were there like scene nicknames in here? Did I miss that part? Or was it mostly just like on MySpace and not like you didn't have to refer to people? Like, thoughts on the nickname thing? Was it just a MySpace thing, or did we call people like names?
I don't know if they actually called people that, but like the one that I remember, because I was friends with her before she was a scene girl, she broke the rules of the normal like alliteration. Megan Massacre, both M's, you know. Her MySpace name was Shipwrecked Beth because it like kind of rhymed, I guess. And I do remember her walking into the hangout and someone yelled "Shipwreck."
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I imagine to a certain degree, like you mentioned a few weeks ago, we were talking about Cartel, honestly, kind of the first phase of social media. Some of these people, you don't go to school with them. You don't go to Northwestern, you go to Iroquois, or you go to Academy, you don't go to Fort LaBeouf. So you're like, right. That's Shipwreck Beth, but I don't really know Beth like that. So do I call her Miss Shipwreck? Or, you know what I mean? Like, really, there is kind of, because that's the reason I ask, is because like it wasn't that outlandish to envision people having that type of nickname. I just don't remember it being a super common thing. Other than, I guess, the early social media thing. Confusion, maybe.
I wish I could remember any of the other people I was friends with that had that type of scene name.
Well, we're on Space Hey, so check us out and let us know what your scene names are.
Yes.
So his girl, Megan Massacre, that is with the evil Crag. And to quote Sam Slam, we all know the lone wolf can't get his signature wolf cry without the girl in his corner. And, they bring Megan Massacre over and says, hey, Megan Massacre, blah, blah, blah. Here's the storyline heading into today's matches. What gives? She looks right into the camera and says, it's real simple, boys. I only the champ. End quote. So, They kind of just get after it. There's definitely our main storyline here. The girl's been stolen, and can the lone wolf get his wolf cry going without Megan Massacre in his corner? Then we see him. Do you want to walk us through kind of his? Then we get our first real look at the lone wolf himself.
Right. We see this guy walking down the street in like a gritty black and white, still maybe sepia, and Chuck's tall gym socks, and he says, in like a weird accent for no reason, "There's only two things for me in this world, my belt and my girl, and nothing's gonna come between neither of them." It's just like,
which, to the actor's credit, like it was kind of a weird voice, but when he saw the dialogue, I wonder if it was written or if it was improv or whatever. But he commits with the voice. At least he's committing. You know, it's
right,
just like,
right.
There's not even an ounce of like, I'm not taking this seriously. He just looks right into the fucking camera, and nothing's going to be between, you know, like, I believe it for a second. I'm like, oh, damn. Like, I could see someone saying this is corny, but at least they're like really into it. So now I want to be into it. Like,
right.
Why would you make this a bad time when everyone seems to be having a good time? Anyway, he arrives at the venue. We're all at the venue now at this point, I think.
Yep. He comes out of a garage with like some canvas announcing his arrival, I guess, and the music starts. We've got the champ and Megan Massacre sitting on a bench. The champ is lifting weights, and Lone Wolf comes out. He like tries to rip his shirt off, but he can't, so he makes a quick cut with scissors and then rips the rest of it off, which is just so funny. So funny. I don't know.
It reminds me in movies when like football teams can't break through the paper sign that the cheerleaders are holding up.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, uh-oh, who's this lovable loser?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Anyway. It's like the music video is also a lovable underdog, a lovable loser.
Yes, so, absolutely. Yeah.
So the music video and the wrestler or the lone wolf are kind of the same thing. Look at this thing. We
then see like this wrestling ring in a backyard that is just a patch of dirt. Like not much going on in South Philly there. And there's a whole crowd. A bunch of people holding signs, "I believe in Wolf." And one outfit definitely stood out to me. I don't know if you picked up on that.
Lay it on me.
There's some lady just wearing like Renaissance fair attire for like no reason.
Yeah, I'm not sure what like a call for extras poster might have said for this particular music video, but not a lot of continuity. But that makes it so much better. Again, lovable loser, low budget on purpose, very into it. But the girl with the sign is the girl from 4E character that we kind of alluded to. There is, at least there's a person in his corner. It might not be Megan Massacre, but will our hero find love elsewhere? Perhaps. Stay tuned.
And the band is performing in the ring, which to me is hilarious.
Yeah. Like it's still a music video.
Yeah. They have all of their gear, and the drummer's shit is just like rattling all over the place. Could not have fit a bigger smile on this dude's face. He's so happy to be there. I think a stark contrast between the starting line's drummer, who just looks like he's off in a different dimension.
He's just in the zone, man. I love that guy.
No, Kennedy
is Chris Parnell. I'm still convinced he's Chris Parnell.
Kennedy is all into it. It's good.
Here's a question. Well, there's two questions. The first one is, did the Wonder Years rely on stage tricks? We mentioned a lot of the Paramore Fall Out Boy spinning and swinging and jumping over each other stuff. They seem to be doing, is it just general basement show guitar tossing around as they like thrash, or did they have like a signature style?
I remember hearing about posse jumps, and every pop punk band started doing posse jumps. And every time I Googled it, it was almost exclusively pictures of Soupy with like one leg forward, one leg back. And every singer, every frontman, myself included, was trying to do that. And I always equated the posse jump with Dan Campbell.
Okay. No guitar slashing or spinning or anything like that from your experience seeing them?
I don't recall.
Okay. Because in this video, they do it a little bit. That might have just been like production on set. Like, hey, okay,
sure.
do one where you're really into it. Okay. So my other question was, if you look at live versions of this song we performed and you look at this video, very particular, very purposeful use of hands. Thoughts on Dan Campbell's just general aesthetic in terms of like, I don't know. It's like he's helping narrate the story he's telling. Like, obviously, he's very like personal lyricist, but he definitely uses his hands a lot more than I even really realized. He's just like, hold on, you. Like he's kind of like,
right.
He's kind of just helping us along, I guess, with his hands.
No, he's super animated. I mean, at one point, he's grabbing onto the ropes and just like falls over. It's like, not even this ring can contain me. It's like, I feel his words and his performance are very authentic. Like, it is years of angst coming out in every frame. And he's animated live too. I mean, he's up in people's faces. He's a great front man. Like, I mean, I haven't seen them since, oh God, Greatest Generation, because maybe we can do a post show about the Wonder Years. Oh God.
Let's do it.
Because the career trajectory. Okay.
Because we have a round one to get to, believe it or not. We have not yet made it to round one. The Joggernaut, which is spelled J-O-G, comes jogging out of the jogging out. It's pretty much what you're picturing. 80s jogger, blows a kiss. You're saying this is the tour manager?
So yeah, he blows a kiss into the camera, which just kills me. I love that it's J-O with an umlaut, like Juggernaut. Like if you're trying to do like the German pronunciation. Yeah, so when I was running lights for them at Empire in Springfield, Virginia, I think I've said the name Matt Kennedy several times. Mike Kennedy's a drummer, Mike, not Matt. I recognized this guy walking through the crowd. I was like, oh my God, are you the saxophone player from We Are the Union, which was like a punk ska band from like 2010 or 2009, 2010. Recently got back together with the Ska Tune Network guy. But he was like, yeah, once upon a time, I'm the Wonder Years tour manager now. So the guy, the Joggernaut is their TM, which I think is just fun that they just got all their friends in the video and that he was up for it. If you're bored, check out We Are the Union. I'll put some songs in the show notes. They were so killer. But yeah, we get some like goofy video editing thing where everyone tries to stand really still and the Joggernaut is running circles around Lone Wolf, makes it look like he's running 1,000 miles an hour. And dude, it kills me. He runs towards Lone Wolf. Lone Wolf puts his arm out and bam, Wonder Punch. It just like
I do love that the jogger's move is to run really quickly around, you know.
And it didn't shake our hero. I love the explosion when he hits him.
Yeah, like they at least they came up with fake wrestlers and stuff for just the music video. I thought it was, is it like intentionally kind of like silly? Yes, but I was like, I'm a fan of them for trying. Like, oh, what if he's like a jogger? I don't know. I just like would have loved to have been at that at Melrose Diner coming up with the video for this song with them. Right.
I hope they wrote it at at the Melrose Diner. Yeah, I just wrote like I remembered at this point in the video that like this band fucking actually loves wrestling. If you've ever seen the live performance version of Living Room Song, which is like one of their greatest songs ever. Oh God, the band member's name, he's escaping me now. I think it might have been Josh. Walks into the room, turns on a TV and starts playing like a wrestling video game. I do remember watching like a live stream of theirs years and years ago, and they were just like playing with wrestling action figures and like looked like they were having so much fun. Legitimately just fucking love wrestling, and it just made my heart sing that they did a video committing to something that they just had so much fun with.
Here's a question.
Uh-huh.
Is there a lyric that you identify with the most in this song from that batch of like, I don't know, it's so personal, like all these handfuls of f*** you, man, that's never enough. I feel like I've been an asshole for months. I'm not fond of anyone, and that's got everything to do with us. I don't know. Is there anything that just like rang? Because there's like this album's full of things that you've mentioned, the cereal and the milk and everything like that. Is there anything in this song that jumps out at you and just like that you cling to and identify with that, I don't know, is there a typical soupy lyric that you just clung to for this particular Melrose Diner song that isn't the chorus?
Well, you just read two of them. I think I'm just not fond of anyone.
Oh, you answered my question in the notes and I just read your answer to my question in the notes. That's a little how the sausage is made, people. We butcher it.
We butcher it. Yeah, I think the first one's like, I'm just not fond of anyone, and that's got everything to do with us. At some point, I was dating whoever, who cares? And it was like kind of a rocky long distance relationship, and it made me just like hate everyone and everything.
If you're just joining us this week somehow, there have been literal months of them or that person, whoever this particular person is, getting named by name. But this is a breakthrough on the show because this is the first time it hasn't mattered and that person has not been named. There's more than one. There's like 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever that got mentioned on the show. But I had to note that. That's a show first. Drink, pop bottles, club horns.
But no, like once the relationship started turning, I was just so miserable that I didn't want to see any of my normal friends. And it was just like, I fucking hate everyone. And it's because of you, which obviously not a healthy 18-year-old relationship. Wish I could have done better for myself and everyone else. But just putting the blame on other people. That line definitely stood out. I love the line. There's something about his writing that just feels so unconventional because of how informal it was. Like, come on, man, you've been a good friend. Just like the way he says, come on, man. Like he sings how I feel like I talk or something. So to hear like something kind of poetic, loosely, all I've got left are these handfuls of you, but man, that's never enough. And it just like, it goes from like trying to say something interestingly to saying it in the most like carefree, like laid back, not actually a lyric way. Those two stood out.
It's not like
most.
Trying to write a song where you're like, oh, this is how people write songs and I'm going to try to make it rhyme and I'm going to try to, he's just like, this is my poetry and I'm going to sing it to pop punk music. And that made it very unique and very fun.
Paper boats and some poems I wrote. He actually did publish a poetry book at some point.
Oh, nice.
Or more of a zine. But a couple things here going into the chorus. He says, all I've got left are these handfuls of you, which is what a line. And it's so funny to me that they beep out you from the song, but they write it on the screen. I feel like they just like had to do that for Hopeless or something. But if you watch in the chorus, it was a rare instance of what you bring it up a lot with is during the music video for Helena, the other dude, Mikey, is singing backup vocals, but in the recording, it's so clearly Gerard Way, whose name I fucking nailed this week. But in the Wonder Years, it is distinctly Matt Brash's voice in the chorus. There's moments where it's Nick's voice, there's moments where it's Josh's, but what you see on screen is actually representative of the people singing in the song, which doesn't always happen. I feel like I had to bring it up.
It's interesting. Yeah, we use the MCR example a ton.
The starting line as well. Yeah.
Are the Wonder Years like kind of a slept-on deep talent band?
Oh my God. Mike Kennedy is probably one of the best drummers that has ever existed in this genre, on par with Travis Barker and the drummer of the story so far. They sleep on that dude non-fucking stop. But Soupy is an incredible lyricist. His melodies are dope. Everyone in this band is crazy fucking talented.
Mind if I round two it up?
Sure, let's do it.
All right, we got a tag team, Bogar and Leon Hart. And they are, somehow the rules of this backyard wrestling league are wild because they're about to go against the lone wolf, or so we think. Tom, what happens next?
He gets thrown into the corner of the ring, and we see the evil Crag is bench pressing Megan Massacre. Which to me is so funny. It's insanity. He cries, and the tag team just starts kicking him in the back.
Against like the corner, which is a wrestling thing. I think like, if, right?
Right? Is this wrestling?
I feel like they use the corner of the ring to do a lot of the theatrical stuff.
Yes.
Whether they're jumping off of it or getting trapped in there with a camera. I'm like, oh no, how's he going to bounce back from this?
Right. And then we get the cute nerdy girl with the glasses from earlier, holds up a cardboard sign, which we've talked extensively about cardboard signs in the past. Who did it better? Christopher Drew, Dan Campbell all the way. Cardboard signs were like the thing of this era of the Wonder Years.
This is not an official stance of the show against Christopher Drew.
She holds up a cardboard sign, and we see Wolf #1 fan in a heart on the screen. And our hero becomes distracted, and the other guy knees him in the back. And unable to fight.
Dun-da-da,
The backup, Mac Daddy Ribs, enters the ring with some big Doug Dimmadome energy going in there. He's got like a fuzzy sombrero made of money, gold dollar signs hanging from a chain, a short tie, and randomly a girl sucking a lollipop at his side. He is, I don't know, the venture capital banker from South Philly or something. I don't know.
The ribs in his name stands for I eat McRibs.
He's fat. Okay. But
sorry to whoever that actor is. It's hilarious. He does really well in the video.
It got me thinking, though. I think he might actually be a real fucking wrestler because he takes both the guys by his arms, basically does a backflip, slamming them into the mat. And then
the best choreography of the whole video
was this Mac Daddy Ribs. He might be a real wrestler. We should look it up.
There you go.
But he walks over to Lone Wolf, pulls his hand up in the air, crowns him the winner. He's still slumped over the corner. I'm not sure these follow, like you said, the conventional rules of wrestling. It seems a little whatever goes. But on the note of backyard wrestling, maybe someone can help me out with the name. I feel like there was a channel on basic cable, which would have been one of the first 12 channels, that at night would play like these extreme clips, and it was very like hyper masculine, like energy show. And they were like, and at this party, these guys are doing this, and they introduced the clip. There was a clip of like an extreme backyard wrestling match where there were no rules. And all I remember was one guy had a guy in a headlock and he was taking his scalp off with a fucking cheese grater. And it haunts me to this day, seeing that as like a 10-year-old. So maybe there just are no rules in backyard wrestling as compared to WWE. I don't know what the RBA or BAW is doing, but maybe you're allowed to just come in with a random second guy and pass the win off to someone else.
I think there has become an obvious hole in our research for the show, which is the entire history of wrestling. So apologies. If you listen to the show, you know that I know we've let you down. That's usually where we come through for everybody, is the wrestling intricacies. No, just kidding. Yeah, of course we don't know. Main event. The McRib comes in and just lays the hammer. And now we're on to the main event. The Lone Wolf has been pushed through to the final round against the Evil Craig.
Yeah.
But he's exhausted. He is exhausted. I'm not sure he's going to be able to pull through, Tom.
I thought the same thing when we were watching, but
But who's that girl? It's Jess.
So
can I get a hot tub? It's the girl from 4E, everybody. He does have a girl in his corner.
She comes over, gives him water, pumps him up, and reminds him of the wolf cry, right? Gives him a little persuading.
Which he doesn't have unless his girl's in his corner, so she must be his girl.
So she
Quick question.
Must be.
Would you rather be a B-rate version of someone or a broke dick version of someone?
B-rate, obviously. Jesus, a B is still passing.
There you go. Well, maybe it's an easier question to answer than I thought. Anyway, the Evil Craig picks up the Lone Wolf over his freaking shoulders, slams him onto the mat in slow-mo, chain reaction. All the attendees start spitting out their water. It's very low budget and hilarious.
So funny. So funny.
Kind of amid Soupy in the seats, just singing, kind of like detached from the reality of the storyline, singing at the camera, which is kind of neat. I
love that. It's so fun that the crowd is reacting to the video and Soupy is like not a part of it. I think it's weirdly
But then
artistic.
they come into the gang vocals later as well, which is like, oh, hell yes. Yeah.
My friends all say. Yeah, and they all scream, we all say. I remember the Good Fight trying to do something where it was like the super, oh God, what's the Sunrise Skater Kid song? It was all about like best friends and pizza. And it was like, I this, and then everyone else is like, we that. Just totally ripped it off. It was the coolest thing when I heard it. It's so fun to see the whole crowd yell it. Damn, so good. Really good use of the crowd.
Yeah, and then the screaming the crying out continues because we get the wolf cry. The wolf cry finally, I think like at this point, it's safe to assume that the lone wolf was going to figure out a way to win this match. And he does with the lone wolf cry. And in the the biggest turn of events in terms from like a physics standpoint, he just fucking throws Craig like away from Philly's area code. He's just like, and Megan Massacre, he just like throws her and there's a shot of like a sex doll going through the air and she lands in the crowd and then the crowd starts beating the shit. Like what's interesting about BAW wrestling, which I'm assuming is backyard raw wrestling, whatever, is if you get out of the ring, you're at the crowd's mercy as well. So it's like definitely an interesting take. But so Megan Massacre, maybe, I don't even know if she gets her come up and she just like decided to have a different boyfriend. I don't think that's necessarily a sin, but you know, yeah, the crowd starts just wailing on her.
Well, no, the sin was she came up to go kiss Lone Wolf because he's the champ again. Therefore, she can the champ. And he had a girl who was there for him.
But she admitted up front that was her thing. So it's kind of like, was she not someone who did that before she was originally with the Lone Wolf?
Right,
you know
right.
It's like, what a surprise. It's like, no, I mean, obviously that seems to be her thing in this little backyard scene arena. So
domestic violence, never a good route. But in the terms of this video, seeing it turn into a blow up doll and then the crowd just wailing.
A comedic thing that just kills me every time is when a humanoid being falls from a roof or gets thrown and it's such an obvious like sex doll or body like pillow and it's just like, ooh, and then it's just like the person is just there on the ground like, ow. It just kills me. It just tickles me to no end.
It's super good.
Yeah, Girl from 4E kisses our hero and his wolf ear rises like kind of like a boner thing, which he's just, kudos to Charlie the actor. He's sitting there going through it, really acting that part as well. Like, okay. Cooking up something special here. And then he delivers a monologue. I might ask you to deliver that same monologue, Tom.
Yeah.
But I'll do it if you don't want to.
So we got the girl hanging on his shoulder, just so smitten with him.
Girl from 4E is wearing a little lion mane thing now next to his wolf thing and is like on his shoulder.
Oh, I didn't notice the lion mane. Okay.
Yeah, she has a little like headdress too at this point, which is kind of cute.
Fun. And he says, right to the camera in the accent, "Listen up, Wolfpack. If you don't like who you are, if you don't like the world around you, if you wake up every morning feeling hopeless, scared, and sad, it's never too late to stand up and change. When we all work together to stay positive, everyone becomes their own champion." And then, and then Washington Square Park starts playing. It's like, one of the best riffs of the decade.
The opening part of the song was cut short for all of this. Just kidding.
It also started, the announcers at the beginning were talking over Washington Square Park. So they had two instances of a different song playing throughout the video. Which, like you said earlier, was supposed to be the lead singles anyway. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah.
Like, in case you missed our first single, we have other songs on this album as well. No, just kidding. Any closing thoughts?
I love it, man. It's definitely one of the better songs on that record. Again, I
would say go listen to our Upsides episode. It was one of our better episodes ever. We said it better than what we're about to break into, and we don't need to elongate this episode, I don't think. This is a very fun wrestling episode. But yeah, obviously it's a very special record to both of us for reasons. Yeah, super good. I mean, the old episode that we did was a lot of fun. I'll link it in the show notes. But this album is super, super special to me. I broke up with the love of my life because she wouldn't stop shit talking the album. I can't pass up that anecdote. Oh God, I'm so sorry. It's super special to me. The song is, one of the highlights. We're going by high fidelity rules in the scheme of sorting your records autobiographically, that would be one of the biggest life events associated with any single album, I'm sure. Right. So, right. Yes. Do you mind if I give you 2 songs of the week this week? Do it. Okay. That means you can't give one. Oh, okay. That's it. I got you. No, you can. I actually don't care. But I have 2. And at some point, Chris and at some point JW have given us recommendations. These might be those or not. So forgive me to both of you. But one of them is Bring Me Down, We Were Sharks, and the other one is Phone's Dead, Stage Moms.
Cool.
And really what I'm saying here is they're both fun and on par with what we listen to always. And this is just an advertisement for everyone to continue to tell us what you like, because as we note frequently, we need the Sherpa's help in our pursuit of music we like. So thanks to everybody for kind of just being involved in the community on Twitter at _reminiscent FM and sharing what you like. It's fun.
Yep. One of my friends about a year ago told me to listen to Broadside. I finally did the other day. The opening track, Hidden Colors, off of their album Paradise, is a whole lot of fun. So that'll be mine for the week. Broadside is a really fucking fun band for sure.
Nice.
Yep.
Do you remember what the post show was going to be?
I don't. What were we
Something
saying?
about you and the Wonder Years.
Oh. I don't remember.
One of their albums, or seeing them live, or the drummer, or something.
Get stoked on it. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Either way, love you all. Hit us up on Twitter. Talk to you next week. Bye, everyone. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out this week. It meant so much to do this episode, this album, this song, this band means so much to me. And I'm glad we finally got to talk about this insanely incredible, low budget, but awesome music video from Melrose Diner. Please hit us up on Twitter at _reminiscentfm. Let us know what you think of the video. Is this the best song on the Upsides? Let us know. We're really stoked to talk to you all on Friday, and we'll have another really fun episode out for you next week. Thank you all so much. We love you. Bye, everyone.